the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and a giddy up.
They say that respect is earned, and our guest today on Sporting Denver has earned that in abundance. I was scanning through Facebook pages earlier this year, and there've been strange times with the pandemic this year, and people have worked their way through it, and that's commendable. And I saw this cavalcade of vehicles with flags and gift bags, and it was somebody's birthday, and the line just kept going on and on and on. Our guest today on Sporting Denver is the reason for that cavalcade through Real Colorado Edge and their membership, their respect in abundance, and our respect in abundance to Ryan Henkel. Ryan, welcome to the show, mate, and much appreciated. I know you're a busy man.
Well, thanks for having me, Rich. Unbelievable when you look at all the people you've had out here that you even consider me as somebody you want to chat with. So really appreciate it. Yeah,
well, you've been on the list for a while, mate, anyway. It was just finding that time under, difficult circumstances. Explain the cavalcade going past your house and the copious amounts of gifts. I must point out, it was all following protocol. Everybody was masked up. How did you feel about that, mate? I thought it was brilliant.
Oh, it was unbelievable. I mean, Rich, as you know, at the beginning of this pandemic, we didn't know what was happening and what the world was going to turn into as far as what daily life was going to look like. And when you're a single person and you're by yourself all the time, like myself, and people care about you the way they do, it just makes you feel really good. So my birthday came up, and my good friend and other director of coaching, Jay Hamilton, he spoke to some of the players and said, let's surprise Ryan. I actually had no idea what was happening. I thought he was driving by to give me a gift himself. And I walk outside, and then there's car after car after car. And, in a time where you might be a little lonely, a little sad, it was one of my favorite moments I can tell you about. So,
yeah. I've known you for a long time, and my first introduction to you was I think our teams were playing each other or something along those lines. We have remained friends ever since, thankfully.
I remember,
you always go up to the coaches after the game, win, lose, draw, rain, shine, and you're always amicable to everyone, and I want to commend you on that, mate. It's you care, and people care back at you.
I appreciate that, Rich. Yeah, thank you to you.
So thank you. What's it look like right now? We've managed to squeeze in here in Colorado the fall season. Brilliant. I think everybody needed to get out there and get playing again. I think we've done okay in following protocol. So what's next for Real Colorado Edge now during the off season, looking forward to the spring season in 2021, Ryan?
I think we're going to sit back and count the blessings and enjoy that we actually got to see the kids play. I mean, our thing when we came back second week of June or so was we wanted the kids on the field where they're having joy and releasing from the stresses they're going through and families, schools, not understanding why. And I think right now we did get it in, as you said. And so as everything's starting to shut down again, we're gonna let the families and the kids enjoy these holiday times with families, and we're gonna revisit it in the spring as hopefully vaccines start to come out and hopefully we get back control of the numbers that are happening around us. But we're gonna look at that as it comes. Right now, we're gonna just be thankful that we had every team playing, both genders, all ages, families able to watch their kids play soccer, and that's why we're here. It's been an absolute joy. So hopefully it kicks back in a few months, and we're back out doing it in the spring again.
I know we've all learned, and I saw it en masse, and your club were exceptional in delivering online coaching, education. It was there for everyone. Your whole organization got involved. Do you think you'll take any of that, let's say, and touch wood, we get back to normal-ish for the spring season. Would you take any of what you've learned to put that maybe into your programs with the Edge, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, we've learned a ton. I mean, if there's a blessing in disguise in all of this, it's learning new tools to communicate, learning new tools to educate. Zoom being one of the greatest things we've learned. The medium we're here chatting on right now. I mean, Zoom for us. Can we now do coaching meetings where we don't actually have to ask the coaches to leave, home when they have a family and
Right.
It's something they do on the side. So there's a ton of things we've learned. Online resources for kids. It's amazing. I mean, instead of having to go work with a private trainer, now you have lesson plans that we developed, as you shared, in the spring, so that players had 3, 4, 5 things they can do in a week to continue on. So I think that you'll see that we for sure will, and I hope the other organizations do as well. Use these resources now for our kids, for our coaches as well. The kids, being everything we do things for, but coaches, the more coaches we can touch, the more players we can touch. And so hopefully that as well. So.
Yeah, I think instigating that into, I think we could take that as a positive into any sports organisation, into utilising technology to in the right way for its membership. So what does your role involve? What's your title, Ryan? Let our viewers know. And what's it involve, mate?
Yeah, all encumbering. Director of coaching for the competitive girls, 11 to 19. I'm also the college advisory director for our club. I've actually been, more proud of sending kids on into life, doing more beyond our own environment than anything else. But yeah, so day to day, it's working with coaches to help develop them. It's getting involved with as many kids as possible, as far as whether I coach my own teams, but mostly trying to affect as many players as we can through our coaches, through being on the field with players. To your point, educating now with the new world we have, and then obviously on the college advisory side, boys and girls, working with players to develop a path, and
Sure.
that path changed, as you know. We've been rigorous in our work to make sure that we understand what that new path is for players, because again, I think getting players on in life with life lessons and going on to next steps is so important. Yeah, I've been many roles.
I think your involvement with that college advisory program has come back at you with the connections that the players that have gone through the Edge program onto college, D1, 2, 3, or any college for that matter, for their education and life development. How have you noticed that? And I know you don't take compliments, right? But how have you noticed that in terms of people, the alumni coming back and still associated with the club? How was that set with you? And be honest, come on, I know you don't take compliments, but there's one for you, Ryan.
Well, I appreciate that, Rich. Just the best compliment we could ever have happened about 2 years ago. I had a player at a club prior to here that went on and played at University of Florida, so top 10 program year in and year out.
Right.
And she came back and wanted to, while she was in between, her original school to where she's now nursing, and she wanted to get back, and she coached 2 teams for us. And this coach shared the passion that hopefully we shared for her years ago with 2 teams, and would have puppy days, and the soccer was great. And the passion was still there, and that's the greatest compliment you can give to me, is a player coming back and giving back to the environment that we hopefully provided for that player years ago. Yeah, great compliment.
And well deserved, by the way. And that's with the whole crew there, the whole coaching crew and the staff there at the Edge. Commendable. We did see a banner flash up there, like the club involve itself, not just with its membership, but certainly in and around the community up there in Arvada. How has that evolved since you've been there?
Oh, tremendously. 5 years ago, I came into the club, and if you were to take a picture of what we've done from just even myself coming into the club, but to where we are now and the people we've added, we pride ourselves in the people we have working here. You can go licenses, you can go successes on the field. We go successes in community. We go successes in who we are as people. And through that, we've always said we want to grow as a membership, and we want to retain players as a membership who via the people that we are and the way we care for our players. And I can tell you right now, every person on our staff and every coach that we have within our staff resembles that feeling. And when you walk out on our fields and game day practices, you see smiles, you see joy, you see good soccer. But again, you see people that hopefully we're putting out in the world that do the same, good people. And I'm proud to say that every day I step on the field with people that are just unbelievable people. So, and it's all about the community we live in. We don't sit here and recruit. We recruit by who we are. So
that's a huge statement, and you do by who you are and the whole Edge team. You mentioned success on the field, and yourself. You've had some championships, and even going right through to a national. And obviously the regional champions. How did that feel with that particular group of players? I know you talk about everyone, of course you will, but how did you feel, with that group on that journey, Ryan?
Yeah, unbelievable. And you know what's unbelievable about it is the success that we had with the group you just flashed on the screen. That was a group of players that started in our youngest of players. In our new environment with Ian Richards in our academy, who does an unbelievable job. Went through Jay, who's the other director of coaching on the girls' side. And then, I was blessed to take that group. Ironically, Jay's daughter's in there. And we went out and had some unbelievable success in winning the U.S. Club Regional Championship. And what was great about that, again, was that it came from within. We built it here. We didn't recruit players. This is who we developed as a club through our passion and joys as a club. And so that for me was the best part. And that summer you mentioned the national championship and the youth and club environment with this group here. That's an older group here that I started with about the U15 year. Through a couple of years, players from the old environment, the old club that I worked for 12 years as the director of coaching, they eventually trickled over here, and you're sharing one of those pictures there. But a bunch of those players came and wanted to continue, that family environment, and through the last 3-4 years, see the success on the field, and with that, most importantly, we're seeing those kids go on and play in college. With the first group, the current seniors right now, a bunch already committed, and most in the line right now. So it's just so proud, because again, it goes to family for us. And on the field, and I'll ask you coach to coach, when you've got that momentum going with your group, whatever your roster size is, do you get the sense of not only just togetherness with the parents as well, but can you sort of smell it, feel it, touch it? Do you get that feeling just because of the game? Oh, I mean, absolutely. That's why that's the addiction, right, to coaching, is that feeling, a game day, the family that you're with. Each team's a different family, right? I mean, you understand this. Our club's a different family, but yeah, that's why we do it. Why do we do the work we do on the side with the coaches? We coach because we love that feeling. It's an addiction. It really is. And it's hard to put that in words. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, you can't put it in words. You feel it. And again, why am I in the job I'm in, where I do the admin work on the side, right? It's so I can get on the fields with the players, get on the field with the families, and every coach, you mentioned at the beginning, my favorite story was you had to do a little dance for a cup of coffee. And you did a yummy fruit salad and flip. And I'm like, it's top of the notch. So.
I forgot about that, mate. We'll have an orange juice sometime, and we'll talk about that. I don't know what happened there. When did your soccer journey begin, Ryan? When did it all start, mate?
5 years ago, man. I'm an East Coast guy, grew up Vermont, Connecticut. Back then, clubs there weren't that many. And for me, it was ODP. And I was blessed to be one of the top players in that environment and got to travel to regional events. And that's where my passion went. But I just remember my favorite times was traveling with my mom and my dad to these ODP regional events. Rider College is where we always did our regional event for Region 1. And I just, my dad always said, my favorite thing was somebody asked me what I was, and I said, I am soccer. And that was when I was young. And ironically, here I am, still living the soccer dream. But those trips with my parents to ODP those were my dreams and my passion, and it never went away.
So you've actually brought to the table in your coaching, your relationships with, bless them, your mum and dad, retaining that family status and delivering it on the field right now, and keeping that connection both on and off the field. Kansas, how did you get there, mate?
Well, my dad's originally from Kansas City, and we have family that still lives there, aunt, uncle, and cousins, and nieces and nephews. And so always been a Kansas guy. Grew up watching the Kansas City Chiefs. Anybody knows me knows that's a passion. It's the other football, but my dad went to the University of Kansas. Originally went to University of Missouri. Then he went to Vietnam. When he came back from Vietnam, went to University of Kansas. Was in a fraternity there and played football there. And I wanted to follow in his footsteps. And so when I chose this university, I chose University of Kansas, and continued on in his path. And again, you go to family, and everything I am is family, including my choice of where I went to school. And I just couldn't say anything but greatness about Kansas City and University of Kansas. And I live and die by it. So.
Did you ever think about playing the other football at all, mate? Yeah.
I would have been really good, Rich. I see a guy chasing me down. I'd be the fastest man in the world.
That's great information. Thanks, Coach. I'll bear that one in mind, mate, when that big right back's coming at you and you're the winger, right? Oh, that is brilliant. And then you arrived in, obviously, here in Colorado. What started that off, Ryan?
Yeah, it's ironic. I actually decided I was going to continue on with soccer, and I wanted to leave the East Coast. I was working for a club that's now it was big back then, but Connecticut football clubs. I just decided I wanted a new thing. So I actually went to Arizona, and I was working with a club there. I was there for a month and a half, and I said, good gosh, I cannot train at 9 o'clock every night because it's this warm. And I got in my car in April and I just drove to Colorado because my brother was here, and he still is. And I emailed a couple clubs back then. BC Force, which is now turned into FC Boulder, was one of the clubs I emailed originally. And I was lucky enough, within a year, I was one of the directors there on the girls' side. And I was there for 12 years before I came here. We had a great run. But I was just lucky. I just popped up here because I just couldn't deal with the heat in Arizona.
Now you've got all the weather. Well, we've got 4 seasons here, haven't we? And it's beautiful Colorado.
All in one day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Wake up in the morning and it's changed by lunchtime, and there we go again. So, with the Edge, 5 years in there, what would the next 2, 3, maybe even 5 years look like for you in terms of trying to develop the club further? Tough question. It's a vision.
It's a really good question. We've built a stability now that we feel will continue on, and yet we won't get too proud with who we are. In other words, we know the work it took to get us just to the place we are, and we're never going to go back to anything but continued work. But we want to continue to see more successes, all levels, coaches developing and thriving more. It's hard to put a specific on it when you ask that question. It's not about winning and losing. That's not who we are. But we do want to see every level thriving. We want to see all of our kids having the successes that you've seen in pictures here today. And so I think that what you're going to see is we're going to broaden our coaching base. We're going to work to develop more coaches so that our directorship can get around and work with the coaches rather than coaching 3-4 teams. Part of our building of the club is we have had a ton of teams as directors, but we want to be able to affect more coaches. And part of that was finding the right people. We've done that. We're there now. And we want to add to that, and we want to continue to develop them. And that goes through a bunch of education through us, through U.S. soccer, through U.S. soccer coaches, these kind of things. So I think the next piece for us is going to be seeing a bigger, broader coaching base within our club, and educating those coaches to continue on.
Well, that's not a bad vision. You've got what you've got, improve it, move on, build your numbers. You've also stepped back into the fray with the Colorado Soccer Association, the Select program. So you're bringing your energy, enthusiasm, knowledge, and of course your personality to the Colorado Select program. Thanks to Mike Freitag getting you back on board. How does that excite you? What do you look at with that?
I love it. I love working with players from all different environments. It's such an unbelievable passion. I've been doing it I think I've been working with the program for 15 years, took a couple of years off and came back, as you just mentioned, and blessed that Mike was nice enough to bring me back in. But being able to work with players from different environments and representing an entire state, all with one purpose. And the purpose I step on the field is we want our players to be seen regionally as well and add to their environment. So the purpose of kind of accentuating what they're already doing in their environment. Can we make them better by training them with better players around them? And can we also get them seen regionally? And for me, that's such a neat and unique opportunity. Because in our environment, as we've already spoken about, we don't recruit players. We develop who's in town. So now we get to develop who's all around the state of Colorado, along with those kind of players, and help those players get even further in their craft. And so it's really a unique opportunity, and I'm blessed that I get to be a part of it.
It's almost like a busman's holiday. I know it's soccer, here we go again, but what you've mentioned by, getting maybe that pyramid of players in there and identifying them and giving them another chance. Does that sort of not so much recharge the batteries, Ryan, but does it give you that another little ounce of energy maybe to challenge yourself and challenge those players?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you get those kind of players around you and you get to train them on a weekend when you might be having a down moment, which, in our business we don't really have, but it doesn't feel like you need the down minute because again, you get to work with elite players, and it's just, it's so much joy. And again, the traveling to the regional events always been an absolute blast to see these kids compete against other kids at that level across the country. And, that's another nugget to see that those levels compete against each other. So.
Does it? I know the levels are very good at edge anyway, right across the age groups. Does working with the Select program bring something back to you as a coach that you would then take back to the club? Do those players give you a little bit of a different challenge maybe that you can take back into your club, vice versa even, Ryan? Well,
the unique thing that you see that we don't always get because we are a smaller, though it's hard to say we're small, but we're not the big ECNL group, the big DA group, these kind of things, GA, whatever you want to call these, the letters on the names. Yep. But we see that the competitive level in the Colorado Select environment, the training environment is high, right? Because the kids are playing faster, stronger. They want to get into a team that travels. They want to get in front of regional staff. Sure. How do you parallel that competitive fire within your local club, right? And playing for family is one thing, but feeling comfortable that you're always going to be in a team takes away some of the training effort that you have that the Colorado Select program is going to bring out in you. And for us, harnessing that competitive fire and bringing it back to your environment, that's something that we really strive to do. And I often try to figure out what is it and how do we find that motivation. And to be fair, we have, but it's still something that's the difference between the two. And you want to make it so that that's not the case. And to be fair, it's starting to change as we go. So it's been a great lesson.
Would you say, but that's an interesting point you've made. Do you think personally, and spread it through the coaches and your staff out there, do you think you've pretty much got that balance right between select and the edge, your organisation? Is that balance there?
The balance is there, and when we spoke a few minutes ago about what our next steps are, we want to be winning and competing with all of our levels to win in events. And so the balance is right. And yet we're never going to rest in that. We want to that next level and the next level and the next level. We want all those teams to have the same competitive joy. Though we know some players play just to play and have that fun. But again, we want to make sure that the balance is there to your point. And it's hard to balance as directors.
I want to. The only time I score a hat trick, I did it years ago. A few hat tricks is when I say thank you to yourself, mate, for coming on the show and spending half an hour with us. It's enlightened me, and it's nice to get to some of our viewers and followers to get to know you a little bit, and you do care. We touched on it earlier. I smell it, touch it, feel it. You do care, and that's commendable. And my advice to coaches out there, not that they take it, Ryan, would be care for your players, and you're a shining example of that. So last time again, thank you for coming on. But I can't let you go without doing my quick fire 5 questions, mate. So I've written them down here. I've got my glasses on. I couldn't see them that far away either, right? So that's,
you don't want to see this.
It doesn't have to be a soccer team, but it can't be the Chiefs. So outside of that, right? What team would you say to members in your organisation? Look at this team. Look how they gel. What would you put out to them to maybe look at them and monitor and feel their progress? What team would you recommend?
Gosh, that's a tough one.
I know.
We can go back to the Invincibles with Arsenal. I mean, that was something special, right? But obviously, so many years ago. I mean, right now, I'd have to say Bayern Munich. They are clinical, machine, family. Anybody comes in, they don't feel like that. Doesn't look like they were never part of the program before. There's something special to Bayern Munich right now. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I probably would have said Barcelona. Sadly, my Arsenal, I can't use that as an example right now.
Oh, you can. I'll let you. And they were invincible. I mean, if anybody can check them out on YouTube or Google them and just look at some of the performance levels, and you could see that they were playing for each other, just on the field. And it's like that role. Once it gets going, touch it, smell it, feel it. I'll let you have Arsenal, right?
Oh yeah.
And Bayern Munich, because that's not a bad current example as well. So again, any sport, pick a player, any sport that you would consider, I think I know what's coming, a role model for you to say to your organisation, check this kid out, check this player out.
You did say I can't use the Chiefs.
Go on. I just said I think I know what's coming, mate.
It's hard to say. Here's a guy that plays for every reason we want our kids to play for fun. The guy is creative. He plays for fun. He plays for that. He's already bought into the Kansas City Royals. He signed a 10-year contract, so he's going to be in the community for life. But what's greatest about him is he's a great person. He's a person that you want to be around. So if there was a current role model, that's the guy. And by the way, he's fiercely competitive. It's just, he's such a great person.
Has he got everything?
He's already won everything. Has he have everything? And I think he has everything. He's got a kid on the way. He's getting married. I mean, life is good, my friend. Life is good.
I had to let you have that. I knew what was coming, and I totally agree with you. Great role model, fantastic. 2-part question, real quick. What's your finest moment for you personally on the soccer field?
Oh, that's a tough one. You can go to so many, right?
Right.
You flashed a picture up a while ago with MPL national championship medals. That was at a club I was there for 12 years. And there were two groups that were brought together for this event, two different age groups that we merged into one for an event, a national championship event. And I had in almost every case those players when they were 9 and 10, and in 8 of those players we had them for 8 years straight, which is so unique and rare in our business, where you move teams after 2-3 years and to new coaches. And to see these young ladies win a national championship, 2 minutes left in overtime or 30 seconds, it was actually quite amazing. We scored the winning goal. We had our penalty kick takers sitting up at midline to go in, getting ready to take penalties. And Cassie, the girl that we talked about that played at Florida, came back and coached for Real Colorado. She scored the game winner, got the ball at midfield, drove down the line, ripped the ball right top of the 18, upper 90, and won the first national title for that club of any kind. But because I had them since they were little tiny kids, that it was the best passion I've ever had. And I've had a lot since. Anybody watching, I don't want to take away from those unbelievable experiences I've had, but because those were kids of mine for 10 years. And, I'd like to say that, on a side note, every time I see a kid commit to playing in an institution that I've had for so long, I feel that same joy, to be honest with you. But that would be the moment, because it was fun, unique.
Of course. And what about off the field?
Off the field, that's also tough. I mean, that's a unique one. I mean, my entire life is on the field. But it's I don't have a moment off the field, to be honest with you, as far as defining moment or favorite moment. It's seeing my dad, it's seeing my mom. I want to go see my mom right now, but I can't because I'm afraid to bring any kind of the COVID as we travel in the next couple of weeks to her over the holidays. But yeah, I'm a family guy, so yeah.
That works. That's a great answer.
Yeah.
You got it. Brilliant. Mom and dad. Fantastic. I always ask a food question. What's your favorite food, mate?
Sesame chicken. It's the strangest one you're ever going to hear, probably, but I love getting sesame chicken at Chinese takeout, man. How could you go wrong?
I'll bring the orange juice. You get the sesame chicken. We'll catch up, mate. I'm all over that, mate. Fantastic. The United States men's national team are on the up at the moment with this influx of young players. So you've got them in the changing rooms. You're talking to them as a coach. They're young. They could be naive. They're on the up. They're looking good. What would you be saying to them before you go out and play their next game as a coach, mate?
It's a great question. It's going to be a really simple answer. Go express yourself on the field and have joy. Just you never know when you're going to lose this opportunity. My opportunity disappeared when I broke my neck. I went up for a header, got swiped, landed on the side of my head, and I had to have a C4-5 fusion in my neck. Never knew when the day was going to come that I couldn't knock a ball around again on a competitive level. But these guys, they have this incredible opportunity. They're all creative players. They're all representing places all over the country. Go enjoy yourself, compete, but never forget that the reason you're out there is to have fun. And if you're having fun and competing, the experience is never going to go away. You'll never forget the experience, but you also never know when it's going to be taken away, especially at the national level. Somebody new, the shiny new object comes in, and you might not get your chance again. Why not just go be that person you are? And by the way, if you are, you're probably going to be there for the long haul.
So the men's national team, before they go out there for the next game, there's your team talk. Coach doesn't need to do anymore. Get out there, go play. It's exciting times. Thanks, mate, for joining us. On next week's show, I've just got to mention that we've got Darren Powell. He's an old friend of mine, and he is currently with the player development program at Inter Miami. Darren's a good lad. Should be fun talking with Darren. And I can't let you go, Ryan. If you can leave all our viewers and followers one final message from the Pied Piper of soccer, the caring coach, Ryan Henkel. Cheers, mate, if you could leave us a message.
Guys, enjoy this time that we have right now. We're all together going through an incredibly different time in our world. And you know, every time you're with somebody you love, make sure that you're enjoying that. Every time that you're doing something with those that you love and your friends, just absolutely enjoy that moment. You know, this is what we need right now. I've got my Christmas tree up behind me. I needed joy. I didn't care about the rules on when you put your Christmas tree up. Go have that joy, enjoy family, enjoy friends, and have an unbelievable holiday season.